teeth.
We're probably live right now and everybody's laughing at us like that.
Welcome to the darkness.
We are back.
What is good?
Hey,
Yeah.
What's good,
still
fam?
on. Hey,
How's
Look at
everybody
this.
doing?
I can do this.
Oops. Oh.
that's impressive, Jesse. How do you do that? Like that?
I have no idea. I'm just
Stop it.
like a wave.
Stop it.
Are you getting
Stop it.
speed?
Just stop it. What are you, 12?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was trying to bring some
Some joy in. Don't bring.
trying to bring you some joy in your life.
Yeah. What's wrong with you, man?
Look. You know Mother Goose?
Maybe
Hey.
I'm secretly a fairy.
You know, when I do it, I got that little bit of what? You sound like you're deaf.
So-
Fairy.
In boot
Stop
camp,
it.
they walk up to you and go, "Are you deaf?" They do that all the time.
I
I'm
have
like,
people
oh my
say that to me
God,
all the
That
time.
is
And
so
I'm like,
wrong.
no, I have selective hearing.
Exactly.
Oh, God,
Exactly.
you guys. I know we have a my lover just left. What's the matter,
Yes.
man? There she is.
I was having technical hearing problems. I have sound
Oh.
everywhere, but I think I got it.
Are you deaf?
The voice is in her head.
So last night during the middle of the show, my monitor quit, right? And I'm like, what the hell? And then tonight, I'm like, what is going on? The monitor, well, kittens unplugged it.
Oh,
It was just barely plugged in, so it kept, yeah.
Oh, sure. Blame it on the
little-
kittens. Yeah. Mhm.
She's
Sure.
right there, and
They're
she's
innocent.
evil.
It
She's
was
really
banshee.
evil.
Oh yeah, they're all evil.
I
They're
love
evil.
them. I love them so much.
They're evil.
So here she comes, Miss Lily.
Cats are evil.
Yeah.
Cats are evil.
Yeah.
They're from
So-
the devil.
They are
They're
are
from
they
the
good
devil,
or they're
Mama.
not?
I love them.
Oh, okay, calm down there, freaking whatever.
crazy cat lady.
So, okay, what are we doing tonight? Creepy Reddit stories. Creepiness.
Yes, I went down a deep dark hole of stories.
Yes. Who
Okay, not really.
wants to go first?
So I'll go first. But you know, I've heard a lot of things about Reddit. I'm not a big Reddit guy, although I do love being scared. I listen to scary stories all day long. And Reddit, from the research I've done and what I've heard from Reddit, is a lot of their stuff is true. Now, I can't say if it is or not, but I'm going to ask a question right now. And what is this thing that scared you the most when you were a kid?
Mm.
Does it have to be PG?
The thing that scared me the most when I was a kid, I think it was just simply the dark. Just being the dark outside it. In the mountains, there's no light. If there's no moon,
Right.
there's no light. There's no
Right.
nothing. And we didn't have solar light. There's no light. So being in the dark, we had a lot of bear, a lot of cougar, a lot of predators. That was always spooky.
But so you're afraid of what's in the dark, sounds like.
Yeah, I guess that's the difference, right?
Yeah, because when I lived in Tahoe, it was like this dark.
That dark. Yeah, you are. It's a dark.
Yeah, and I
It
did,
is
you
the
know,
stuff in the dark, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, it's the stuff that's in the dark. What do you think, Messi?
I would say the thing that scared me the most, it wasn't the people that I would talk to in my brain or that I would see, honestly. I think honestly it was like, I don't know, maybe humanity. I hate to be that way, but you know, you can't predict somebody, especially when I was little, you know, you can't. I think that's what scares me even now. Yeah.
I would agree with you then. What do you think, Mud Lover?
Well, I had two things that really scared me as a kid, but I'm gonna go with having my feet grabbed hanging out of the bed. That's
Me
why
too.
to this day I cannot have my feet outside of the covers.
And I'm the freak that sleeps with my feet hanging off the end of the bed.
Mm.
I scoot way down so my feet hang off the end of the bed. You do too, Max? Yeah.
Yes,
It doesn't
ma'am.
bother me
Yes,
a bit.
I will take up the whole bed. I will SpongeBob and I will Patrick Starfish the whole bed.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
sideways sometimes when I wake up, like completely sideways. I'm like, what the hell happened last night? You know? Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny
Okay.
is, so the reason I brought that up is, as you know, I've been working out of town a lot, and I've been staying in this one motel, and I was talking to Mud Lover about it the other day, and I woke up. First of all, I always look and see what my stress is overnight. When I'm at home, it's all blue. It's all blue. When I'm like out of town, it's all orange. I stress all night long, and I don't know why. But it starts to counter at midnight, and I usually get up. My alarm goes off at 5. I had, 650 steps, right? Was it 650? Or was
Sure.
it was
I thought it was
some
like 300, but
300? Okay,
same
it
here,
was
friend.
300. It's
Still
irrelevant.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I had that amount in my sleep.
that's crazy.
Wow.
So
Like you were
I don't
pacing.
know if I'm doing laps. But it was
That's
it's
crazy.
bizarre. Just bizarre. So anyway, interesting because growing up, I was like you. I was afraid of what was in the dark. Because think about it, I'm the youngest. I shared a room with my brother. He always had to watch stupid, scary movies that I love now, right? But I would cry like a little. But so I was afraid to get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, get a drink of water. No. So I was afraid of more what was in the dark, and now doesn't bother me a bit. I just think it's interesting.
I'm not bothered by it now. As a child, I was, and I
Heck
think
yeah.
probably my biggest fear as a child was when I really dies. You'd think with a mom who talked to the dead on a daily basis that wouldn't bother me, right? But when I realized they're going to die and I'm going to die and my animals were going to die, that really hit. It was like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everybody goes through that, probably a child at some point, but
An adult.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I haven't,
adults,
I do have adult friends that are really afraid of death, but I have a Reddit story for you. Let me get this here. It's called, and so this one, I'm trying to arrange my screen so I can see you guys and my story. There we go. It's called The Witch's Dance, and it's a brand new Reddit story, and I thought this was really, really, really cool. So this person says he's a resident medical examiner, and he had not shared this experience before, but he thought, had you heard of the Witch's Dance? And it was, so he was living somewhere around the Natchez Trace Parkway, and they decided to go hiking down there, him and a friend of his. And rumors had it that it was haunted, but nobody believed in it really. You know, like, who it's haunted, yeah, whatever. And everybody still liked it, all this other stuff. And he said, I have a friend, we're going to call her M. And M was walking next to me when she saw something in the distance and wanted to go take a photo of it. And it was some kind of animal. I didn't see it. We didn't talk about these woods again after this experience. They continued on for a little bit, or at least he did, but not very far. He says maybe a few dozen footsteps, and he found himself in a circle, a barren circle, like completely devoid of plants, and not even a single blade of grass. And he said he was confused. And he goes, I was a biology major at the time. I'm hearing something go on in my house, and I don't know what it is. Yeah, that's crazy. Because I was a biology major at the time, preparing for medical school. It made no sense. And M runs over and screams to get out of the circle. And rumor has it that it was where the witches dance. It was a circle. Now, knowing who I am, that doesn't bother me at all. But it's pretty interesting that how freaked out people will get. And this is not Reddit. And I will tell you that I have a coworker of mine. So she worked for a different agency than I worked for, but she came up to me with pictures down close to Malad. There was on the forest, they found a pentagram made out of rocks with the circle around it. And then they found some like bent over twigs and whatever and whatnot, and a little bonfire in the middle of the pentagram. And this person was asking me, they're like, what do you think this is? Is this like a sacrifice place? I said, no, it's just a ceremonial place. If somebody was doing something, it's not inherently evil by itself, right? But the Forest Service was really freaked out. They were really freaked out about it. And it's considered a structure on the forest. So they went down there and they got, they made it all go away. But they took pictures and like, well, you're the only one in the office that would know what this is. Is this sad? Is this bad? Like, was there babies in the circle? Like, what's going on? No, there's nothing wrong with this, guys. But yeah, it's people get really freaked out about this stuff.
But it almost reminds me of the place in Romania where they have that circle and they have all kinds of paranormal experiences there, and they can't explain it. Like it's a very, very sacred to the Romanian people. This area. So,
and there's a lot of wild stuff that happens there because a lot of shows have done, if you can believe their show, things have happened in the circle. They'll see crazy things. Well,
it's funny. It's funny that you say that because I think certain areas pick up, they have a certain vibe about them, right? And it's, it can just be, the middle of the desert, and then all of a sudden the vibe changes and weird things happen. Where I grew up, there's a little town, and it's in a valley. And most valleys run, from what I've been told, east to west or north to south, whichever way. This valley runs the opposite way. And this valley, you could actually pick it up and take it to some very spiritual place, and it'll fit right down in wherever this spiritual place is. Now, I can tell you that there is a weird vibe about this little town. It's called Ojai.
I knew you were going to say Ojai. I knew it.
It is such a weird little town.
It is.
And the vibe there is just bizarre.
It is.
And it's I've had to go and do stuff in the middle. You talk about being scared in the middle of the night, going having to take care of some stuff in the middle of the night. And I think that's kind of how I got over my being scared of the dark, because I had to go out there and do stuff in the middle of the night. But I think it's, maybe it was the pentagram. You know, it's Malad. That's a weird place anyway.
Malad is
You know,
spooky.
We've
Malad
talked
is
about
spooky.
Malad, the deaths, all the deaths that were in Malad, right? From the sickness, and there's a lot of ghosts that are in Malad, and I've spent a lot of time in Malad during the day. I don't want to be there at night. I don't want to be in Samaria. I don't want to be in any of those places in the middle of the night.
Samaria is another kind of odd place. It definitely
Yes.
is. But
Yes,
there's a hotel in Malad, or a B&B now. It was like a really old, famous, like 3-story type of Victorian, not Victorian, but you know, a really old. And it's been on several shows. Like, people get up and leave in the middle of the night. They can't.
Oh wow.
Like, there's stuff that they hear outside that they can't identify, and stuff going on in this B&B. Yeah. Ojai is a weird little place.
That particular motel, there's some stories about it. And I know we've talked about Malad a couple times, but there's actually stories about some things that happened in that motel. And they see ghosts on the regular there. There's a lot of stories about Malad.
So you're talking about the hotel in Malad? I was talking about the hotel in one in Ojai. Like it's a B&B in Ojai. But yeah, the one in Malad is crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, the Ojai Valley Inn was built like in I know in the early 1900s, and it's seen a lot of action. Seen a lot of stuff go on in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. And Smokey and the Bandit was filmed in Ojai.
Really?
Yes.
That makes
Smokey and the
sense.
Bandit.
That makes sense.
Yep.
When you think of the vegetation and all that there.
Yeah. So there was a lot of it that was filmed in, but there's a lot of movies that have been filmed in that area. So yeah. Interesting stuff.
So Mud Lover, what is a Reddit story that you have?
Oh, I have one. It's about, the writer is about 14 to 16 years old, and I don't know the gender. They're watching The Family Dog because the parents were out of town, and kept hearing creaking around the house, of course. So he got really quiet and he would listen closely, and he swore he heard footsteps. And so he's like, well, this is weird because there's no one home. So he woke, I think she's a female. She woke up the dog. The dog's name was Athena, and to see if she would react to the sounds. And the dog was just like very cautious, very unsure, uneasy. So this person started to freak out, and they called their best friend. The best friend's name, we'll call them B. And she's like, I'm really scared. I think someone's in the house. And so instead of calling 911, she just was gaslighting herself. Oh no, it's okay. There can't be anybody here. And the house was known for having paranormal activity anyway. So the friend said, well, okay, I can come over, but I'm babysitting my sister, so she has to come too. So they both went over there, and the little sister's about 10 years old. And they both the older ones grabbed knives, and they walked down to the basement, and they cleared the house, starting from the basement and working their way up. As they were on the second
They're
floor.
creepy in themselves.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And I'm going to put this out to everybody, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Mud Lover, but how come in every one of these stories that we hear and we read, everybody grabs a knife?
I don't know.
No, I'm not proficient in knife fighting.
No.
You
gotta be up pretty close to somebody with a knife.
Exactly. So I'm going to grab a can of, I don't know, ant spray. I'm going to can,
40? That's
a 40's a good, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
something
so
that goes
just
pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly. A little foot per second.
Of course, you don't want a 10-year-old with a 40. So
no, they could have the bug spray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hornet
telling
spray
you.
works the best.
Ooh,
Hornet spray is
Star.
good as well.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a story I don't know if
Aquanet.
we want to hear.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Just to let you
Aquanet.
know, if you don't have a gun, if you don't have a knife, a can of ant spray, Hornet spray, whatever it takes, it'll work just as
Hairspray. Light
yeah,
it.
anything.
Light it.
Oh
What have you.
yeah.
What's he look like? Well, he's running down the street with his hair on fire.
His hair's on fire. It
You'll
shouldn't be
see
hard
him.
to miss.
You'll see him.
Don't do what we say. Okay? I'm
No.
just saying. Just
No.
don't do that
No.
at home. Ever.
Entertainment purposes only. This show is.
Right?
This is not
Absolutely.
educational. This is entertainment. Okay,
I'm
go ahead.
telling you, black spray paint and a lighter. But go ahead.
Oh my god. Oh. So anyway, they're going towards the second floor, and she could hear the footsteps, but they were very, very quiet. She started feeling like really uncomfortable and ill, and her friend ended up going into the parents' room and cleared it. And then the friend goes, "We need to clear the attic," and the writer goes, "But we have to search this floor first, every room on this floor first." So they go towards her room, the brother's room, and the washroom, and they're all like next to each other. And so as the friend's walking out of the parents' room, the writer's room door, the brother's room door, and the washroom door, they all slam shut at the same time.
Nope.
It says here there's no windows open, and there's no windows in the washroom. And she was hanging
Well.
on to the little sister for dear life. So they opened the washroom, and there's nothing in there. They opened her room, there was nothing in there. So then they opened the brother's room. There was nothing in there, but she said that he does have an attic access in his closet, as well as her parents. So they checked the ceiling, and it doesn't budge. And they took videos to post onto Snapchat while they were doing this, and his would not budge. So then they tried the parents' room, and again, it looked like it was glued shut. So they all kind of calmed down, and the friend and the sister leave. So then a year later, her father, who was in the military, and the brother and girlfriend were at the house. Forgive me here. So they were watching, they were Skyping. She was Skyping with a friend, and she felt like someone was watching her. And so at this point, they now have 2 dogs, and they're both kind of looking like something's going on, and they're like looking like past her, so behind her. And so she tried to push the dogs out of the way, and they wouldn't leave. And the mom sleeps with the door open when the dad's gone. So she finally got the dogs to go into her room. And so I'm so lost.
Yeah. I
So
love
she's
that.
hearing, it's hilarious, isn't it? She's hearing stomping at the top of the stairs, right? And they're going towards the brother's room. And then she's like, that the footsteps stopped right at her door.
That's enough
And then
to
she
freak
could
you out.
hear, I know, she could hear a step back. And then, so she's like, I can't deal with this. I need to go to sleep. You guys need to leave me, just leave me alone, right? So anyway, so they're talking, and the next morning the mom calls the dad, and she's telling him what happened. And even the mom felt someone sit on her bed in the middle of the night, and when she looked, there was no one there. So So they get to talking and talking about the attic access, and the dad's all, there's no attic access in either one of those rooms. And she's all, yeah, yes there is. And he's all, no, there's not. So they went and looked, and there was nothing there. There was no attic access in either of these rooms. And so she called her friend to get the videos, and the videos didn't record and they never uploaded. And what she says is that when they moved into this house, she was allowed to pick her room. So she went into her brother's room first and saw the attic access. And she's all, no, I don't want this room. So she chose the other room. So she knows for sure that there was attic access in his bedroom. And then that's basically the story.
So she says she remembers that.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else says, nah, you're tripping.
There's
nothing there, right?
Mainly the dad, yeah.
And it's funny that you say that, because we all have heard stories about people living between two timelines. Maybe in one timeline there was an attic access there, and in another timeline there wasn't. And that's completely hypothetical. But I just heard a story today about a guy that used some sort of illicit drug, and he passed out, and he had his whole life in a dream, all the way to where he was a granddad, and he ended up having to bury his wife, and this, and then he woke up and he was still only like 18. So there could be two timelines there. You never know.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I've heard of a lot of stories like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's So
there's a story about a guy that has a wife and kid, and he gets into an accident, and in his accident he's unconscious in this timeline, but in another timeline he actually has a wife and two kids, and and it's the same thing. They watched the kids grow up, but there was this lamp that was always in this timeline, and the lamp never changed. And it was, again, those kind of stories kind of weird me out, that in between time, like Kenna was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Dimensions. I don't know if dimensions and timelines are the same. But timelines, those are kind of interesting. Very interesting.
Hey, Jesse, what you got?
Well, it's funny that Mad Max goes into kind of the timelines and predicting things and having dreams of what you're going to eat tomorrow if it's Taco Bell. I'm just saying, it's on the menu.
Taco Bell now? He is.
Okay, well, anyway.
That's why you're doing 600 steps in your sleep, dude.
That's right. He's thinking about that bean burrito.
I'm going home tomorrow night, so no Taco Bell.
No Taco Bell.
No Taco
Bell.
No Taco Bell. So, how would you guys feel if you thought for a moment that you have designed your life? Let's say that
I did a really crappy job at it then. That's what I would think.
I was just going to say that. So, I'm not for you, for me. No. But what I'm saying is there are some people who do believe that they have been, they were someplace up on the other side before they came here and was born. And they believe that they have destined their life. So me, I think about things like this, and I think about, okay, was I sitting around a table of all these people, right? And I'm going to say, okay, you're my mom and dad. Whoever you are, didn't know who they were in the first place. I mean, we talk about reincarnation, right? And we'll get into that in just a minute. But we talk about how people are like, okay, I have decided that lessons I want to learn, right? what do you want to learn this life? I definitely want to learn
how to deal with $1 billion.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, if I decided this life, I must have been drinking. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
But see,
there we go.
yeah. So I mean, there are people who really believe that they have like planned out their life before they came over here. And then this where it goes into deja vus, right? You meet people, like you talk about dreaming. You talk about how this guy had a dream of what he was from age 18 all the way to when he was a grandpa, right? I bet through his life, he probably had deja vus of this dream.
Hmm.
Sometimes people have deja vus of, you know, sometimes I get them. And I know that I will stop and I will say, okay, I had a dream about this. Something's going to happen.
Hmm.
Have you guys ever had that?
Yeah, lots.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. I've had deja vu. I played football growing up, and that was before concussion protocol actually came about. And
Yeah.
so I can remember some of the stuff that's happened to me, but as it was happening, it happened before. You know, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the coup contra coup of the brain sloshing back and forth, right? Because that brain sloshes, you have that frontal and then the second impact, and it's called coup contra coup. Anyway, I know that that's what's happened to me in the past. So answers a lot of your questions, doesn't it?
Yeah, right there.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but you went ahead and pointed it out. No, just kidding. So the Reddit story that I came across was talking about just that, like deja vus, planning your life. And what if you've been to a place where you've never been before, ever in your current life, but you remember every detail. Every detail.
Yes.
And this
that happened to me.
Yeah. And I remember you have shared that.
Yes.
Fun fact, this is a 5-year-old who went to visit a certain area. I didn't quite get the area where they went, but something very tragic happened there. And as you know, he didn't understand. He read very well as a 5-year-old would, but he was taking his parents around this area of where this tragedy happened. And he was like, he was explaining how certain things. Now, this was an area not like a national park or anything, because in national parks, you have plaques of things, right? But kids nowadays are very, very smart, but some of them can't read at that level to understand what's going on.
Sure.
And there wasn't a lot of people around this area. And they were talking about what happened in this area. And he was just like pointing out everything. And his parents were like, where did you learn this? Like, did you watch PBS or something? Did you
right.
And of course kids do have access to a lot of things on YouTube and stuff like that, but they were the type of family that believed books were more important than actual laptops and iPads that kids nowadays do have, right? And so they were walking, and they seen a picture of this gentleman, and he goes, "That's me." And they're like, okay. Wow. And they thought at that time that it was just an imagination of their 5-year-old, right? Because kids get imaginations. Well, it just so happens they put in here like about a month and a half later, they decided to do genealogy. It didn't really dawn on them, right? What was happening. They actually kind of forgot, and they thought, well, maybe our 5-year-old is very imaginative, and so when they did the genealogy, come to find out, like on the father's side, their family was in that area, and the guy that he pointed out was like a distant relative, the child.
Wow.
Wow.
That
That's
was
wild.
like really creepy. They're like, and so according to their Reddit, they stated, has this ever happened to anybody else where, you've been someplace before, or your child will point out something that you're like, there's no way that they would know this. Like, what? So that's why I asked, like, do you guys believe that you see deja vus, or do you definitely like predict your life to where you can remember certain things?
Mm.
I don't know if
So
I
that
predicted my life, but definitely
Mhm.
the deja vu. And
Yeah.
like as a child, I kept drawing these roads through Kentucky and I'd never been there. Come to find out, there's a cemetery of all of my kin, all my family in Caldwell, Kentucky. It's the cemetery's actually named our last name.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, well, that's wild.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I need to go sometime because everybody there has my last name.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Bunch of Irish in Kentucky. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So that kind of goes back to, there was a story that I can't remember if we talked about here or not, that there was only a certain amount of souls
Mm.
and there was only X amount of souls. It's not infinity. So these people that pass away have a chance to either A, take a soul if one's available, or B, just go to another place and pass away.
Mhm.
So with that kind of being in the whole family thing, I wonder if that kid, when he was born, got that person's soul and was able to say, this would happen. And same with you, Colleen.
Wild.
Maybe when you were born, that you got somebody in your family lineage's soul. Now I
It
know
could
that
have been
when
somebody
Mother,
with a yacht and an island and a lot of money,
Right.
now
Right.
I
We all
know,
wish.
I do know that when Mudlover was born, that the skies just opened up.
Oh my God.
The sun got
That's
brighter.
so sickening. I'm
Wow.
The flowers got brighter. The birds sang louder.
He must want something.
I know, right? It's coming home tomorrow night.
It was a
No.
spring. It was a springtime afternoon when I was born, so that would explain the sun and the flowers.
But really, it kind of makes me think about things and our, my genealogy and stuff, it makes me think that I do believe that I've been in certain situations or places in I do believe in past lives.
Mhm.
I fully believe in it, just because there is no way that I would know certain things without not living another life.
I think that there's certain things that we have to know, and there's certain things that we don't need to know. Like, for example, we've talked about this, going to a stop sign and making a left instead of a right.
Mm-hmm.
That precog stuff.
Mhm.
But I, like you said, Mitzi, I think that there's certain things that you are hardwired in to know.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that you're just not, maybe we're not supposed to know. Maybe, whatever. It's supposed to save us a little bit of grief or whatever, but.
Or they're like the
I don't know.
lessons in your life that you have to learn. And so you kind of I always think about like the Men in Black kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
You're only destined to know certain situations, and you have to learn this life of what you need to learn. And if you didn't, then you have to come back and try to relearn it again, which I think
Right.
that's what's going on with me. There's certain things in my life that I need to learn.
Well,
So-
if
make fun of
in
Mad
my
Max.
life it's patience, I'm screwed. I'm coming back again and again and again. Okay, just saying.
That's funny that you talked about Men in Black,
because
Yeah.
there's a key word, there's a key line that is taught, that is said in that movie. And they said, a person is smart and people are stupid.
Oh, the group.
So
Collective
if you
is
go back and think about a person being smart, and when we're so friggin' intelligent, it's not even funny. Well, not me personally, but people are cheap. You know,
Yeah.
people, you know, they
Yeah.
just lose
Yep.
their minds.
Yep.
And
The lemmings.
I've always-
off the cliff. Yeah.
Oh, that was
I've
a
always
great-
wanted to do in a crowd of people, just turn around and start running and screaming. To see how many people react.
We'll get a bunch of people who will do it. Yep.
I just
Okay.
think that'd be interesting.
So do you have a Reddit story, Max?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, I'm not a real big Reddit guy. I've heard all kinds of interesting stories, but when we were doing research on this, I did find an interesting story. And it's about a kid, and I want to say it's probably female or male, it's irrelevant. But they're sleeping in their bed, and all of a sudden, let's take a step back. Bedroom was by their folks' room, right? And across the hall was like the sister's room, and it was pitch black, and I heard knocking. Now, that's the middle of the night. So knocking is a bad thing. We know 3 knocks is a bad thing in general. So of course they were scared, and this person's always been afraid of paranormal ghosts and stuff like that. So what did they do to protect themselves?
Went under the covers.
Pull the blankets up, absolutely.
My lover
And
says,
all they
been
heard,
there.
I've done it. Done it.
but it's funny because this was between like 4 and 5. So the darkest part, right? And they heard this knocking and knocking and knocking and knocking, ended up going and looking for it. And the knocking was all over. And again, tried to wake, because in these stories, as we know, you try to wake your partner up, you try to wake your folks up, you try to wake, and they won't wake up. They're sleeping so deep. So couldn't find anything, but the knocking was all over the place. It was on the ceiling, it was on the roof, it was all over. So that's when they went back to bed and they covered themselves up with the blanket, because that'll stop everything.
Mhm.
And they
Yeah.
forced themselves to go back to sleep, right? So
Yeah.
the next day they're having breakfast, and the dad looked at me and said, asked why I was knocking on their door in the middle of the night. And I was mortified because I realized I wasn't the only one that heard it.
Mhm.
But when they went to go look around and wake everybody up, they couldn't do it.
Oh wow.
And
That's spooky, isn't it?
that's
That is
that's
creepy.
spooky to me. That kind
That's
of
a little
stuff just
spooky.
messes with my head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
there's something that's controlling you and controlling the
Exactly.
environment around you. Yeah. That's spooky.
And it's funny because I've been places where I've seen something standing right there, and somebody with me isn't seeing anything.
Hmm.
You know, and
Yep.
like I said, you know that I've worked on a haunted farm. I worked in a haunted jail, because all jails are haunted. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says.
Yeah. That's true.
It's true.
You know,
Yep.
it's not a Sunday social.
Right.
But it's funny because I had one partner, and I'd be looking out a window. We'd always sit looking at each other, but you always look past.
Mhm.
And I remember looking up into this one area, and I could see somebody walking around. And I must have had this look on my face because my partner goes, don't. And I'm like,
Don't
dude,
even say it.
you're going to have to go check this out. No,
No, not going.
no. And he's a good dude. But it's just so funny because he's like, don't.
Yeah. So
I
I
get
have
that a lot.
yeah,
Don't.
I have an interesting Reddit story that allegedly took place in 1970. This one
I'm
is
going to go
kind
back
of
behind the machine.
Mhm.
this one's spooky. Okay, I have to Let me get Max back on here. This one is really spooky. It's about a car fire, and trying to wait.
That'd be a terrible way to die.
Mhm.
Well, okay. So this person says, when I was about 19, I was driving home from work on a country road, and I noticed there was traffic, which is really unheard of at that time. I looked up the road ahead to see what was going on, and I saw about maybe 6 or 7 cars. And there was I was parked back like 6 or 7 cars, and I saw that. You remember those old station wagons that had the paneling on the side? Yeah, we had that. Yeah, okay. And with like the back seat would sit backwards. The very back. Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah.
We loved that seat. And we'd all like, what? Anyway, so they saw this big Woody station wagon that had kind of pulled off the road partway, and there was a fire in the engine of the station wagon. Okay, and so all of these people had stopped, and there was a woman was outside the car, kind of running around, screaming, my babies," just as the whole car started to go up in flames.
Oof.
It was horrific. A ball of fire with the woman desperately trying to get to her trapped kids. Out of nowhere, what seemed to be like out of nowhere, a man walked up to the car, and out of nowhere, a man walked up to the car, stuck his hand through the flames, and then disappeared into the fire. A few seconds later, he came out of the fire carrying a baby and a toddler right before an explosion. Like the car went up. And this person said, right before this explosion, these kids were strapped in car seats. Like everybody was out looking at the car, but too afraid to do anything. And this person saw these kids strapped in their car seats. But which I was kind of wondering in the back of my head, did we have car seats in 1970? Yeah, that's
really not. No,
like a booster. They have booster seats, but just
a little metal bar. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all they have.
Maybe that's what they're seeing. So yeah, like they would just launched you forward. That's all they did was became a projectile.
Or your mom's arm.
Yeah, your mom. It was always
I still do that. I still do that.
I still do the clutch.
Me too.
Okay, a few minutes later, I was able to pass the scene, and I saw the man up close. He was holding the baby, and neither had a scratch on him. He wasn't sweating. He winked at me as I passed. The station wagon was just in complete flames by then. The interior was completely gone. I went home, and I figured I just not really saw what I thought I saw. Like it didn't really happen, right? And there were no cops on the scene or anything. This all happened in a matter of just a couple of minutes. So it was easy to dismiss as a trick of the eye. But I did tell my dad what I saw. And he rolled his eyes and told me to quit smoking so much pot. Yeah, it's the 70s. So, well, it could be today. But anyway, so the next day, however, on the front page of the newspaper was a headline that read, "Miracle on Bloomfield Road." There was an interview with the man, the mom, and other witnesses. And he said when he touched the door handle to open it, it didn't burn him, the man who went through the flames. It didn't burn him. The flames around him didn't touch him, like kept its distance from him. Both he and the children were fine. They didn't even have a blister. The mom couldn't touch or get near the car without being burned. She was injured just trying to get in, as were other people who were trying to get to the car to save the children. She said, along with the rest of the eyewitnesses, that the man didn't come from a car and didn't leave in one. And no one really knew who he was or where he came from. There were literally 20 to 30 other people who saw exactly what this person saw. And for what it's worth, I really believe her. My eyes weren't playing tricks on me. I either saw a man enter that car, which was no longer recognizable as a car. It was just a giant fireball, and he came out completely unharmed while saving 2 babies from certain death. Nobody, the fire department, nobody could make any heads or tails of this thing.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think certain people are placed in certain places at a certain time to do something?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Now, whether that was a guardian angel or whatever, but there's a lot of that stuff happens. That
It sure does.
somebody just happens to be in the right place at the right time, and we've used that term a million times, right? Oh, you were in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that there are certain people that are placed in certain places at certain times and that's what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with it. Does anybody have a second? I have another one if nobody does.
Go ahead.
Kill it.
Okay. All right. Let me make this a little bit bigger here so I can read it. Okay, so this is from the state of West Virginia, and I lived there for 2 years and absolutely love that state. It's one of my most favorite places. It's just, yeah. I lived way up north on the Ohio River on the West Virginia side, and it was absolutely incredible up there. So this this event happened in 2023, July, and I'm still having nightmares about it, including one last night before this person posted this.
Wow.
So it's still with me. Like this person's there's like PTSD from this event. I was on a trip driving back from Michigan to Florida with some friends, and we wanted to keep driving straight through and made a dumb mistake of crossing over and driving through West Virginia at about 2 to 3 a.m. And there's some shit that goes down in West Virginia, just saying. Having lived there, there's some stuff. Like West Virginia's a little on the creepy side sometimes. When I first got to the border into West Virginia, my entire radio was freaking out. I was the only one awake since I was driving, and it was bugging out, and no one's touching it. My phone disconnected and reconnected about 20 times over 5 minutes. I got out of my car and ran into a rest area to get some coffee and take a walk. And I was hoping that my phone would reconnect. So if the car sat for a bit, like they didn't know what was happening with the car and if it's an electronics issue or what's going on. I was on my phone. I guess when the phone reconnected, I was on the phone with my sister to tell her about what was happening while everybody else was asleep in the car. And it kept feeling like someone was watching me, but there was no one else at the rest stop. And I don't know if you guys know, it's not like the turnpike, but like the turnpikes, like in like Pennsylvania
Illinois.
and all these turnpikes back there, they have these, they're called rest areas, but they're in the middle of the freeway.
Yes.
Yes.
That tripped me out.
Yeah, they're weird, right?
And like, you better hurry and get over. And I'm like, why is there
like little cities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a gas station in the middle of everything. And I'm like, why is it? It is weird because we're so used to them being on this side of us.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
anyway.
I got back into the car and my phone literally started playing on the speakers through a phone call. I wasn't on Bluetooth, and it sounded like old-time staticky radio. And someone was talking, but it wasn't definitely anything on my phone or anyone else's phone on the car. They're like, whose voice is this and where's it coming from? When we got back on the road, my GPS somehow got set to no tolls. So I got off the highway again to pass a toll. I never switched my GPS into this mode and I never have. It was definitely creepy and dark. A dark figure in the dark blackness, it's very dark back there in all those trees. And it was standing on the side of the road as we were driving through this little town, Shady Springs, West Virginia. I know it sounds made up, but it's definitely not. We were all freaked out. And I drove fast to get back on the highway. And then it happened a second time. I forgot to take it off the mode, that GPS mode. Okay. So, what's going on, you guys? Then it said to turn on a dirt mountain side road, and not knowing where I was, I just followed the directions. Now, I'm like, okay, why would you do that? This is in every horror movie out there. Stay on the damn freeway, okay? I'm just saying.
Right.
The second I turned on the road, I saw the same dark dressed figure standing on the side of the road. And then a little bit further down, 3 unnaturally large deer jumped in front of us. I had to slam on my brakes, and when I did, I looked over at the deer, and one of them turned black with bright red eyes staring at me. By this point, 2 other people in the car were awake, freaked out and crying. I'm only going about 15 miles an hour on this road. Now it's pouring rain, no lights besides our headlights. I see a bunch of red paint on some trees along the road for about a quarter of a mile and some signs, but I definitely didn't stop for anything. When I looked back in the rearview mirror, I had the same feeling that someone was watching me. And there's what looks like, again, to be this large man, all dressed in black, walking directly behind our car on this mountain road, no more than 15 feet behind us at any given point. I finally got off this dirt road and raced to the highway and got on. And then it looked like the same large deer with bright red eyes I saw following me earlier on the side of the highway. And it bolted in front of a semi and just exploded. And it then looked like the figure in black behind us went back into the woods near where the deer bolted out. I'm not sure what I experienced in West Virginia that night, but it wasn't good and it wasn't okay. I drove and drove until I started seeing the sun come up, got over the border into Ohio, pulled over and slept for like 3 hours. It was not a good experience, and I still have nightmares from it.
That's wild.
You know, you get to those places, West by God, Virginia, and all those places. The weird shit-o-meter pegs out a lot.
Sure does.
And we've talked about the Appalachians, that whole area back there is just freaky, man.
Do you think that story was real?
I've heard a lot of stories just like that. I've heard a lot of stories.
It had the flavor of realness to me.
Yeah.
It really did. And when you're reading them, some of them you're like, it's BS and they're just making stuff up.
Yeah.
That one got me to me because having lived in West Virginia, there's some weird shit in them there hills. You know what I'm saying? There's some weird stuff that goes on there.
Well, yeah. You remember the movie Deliverance was filmed back there?
It was filmed in Georgia, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Georgia, but still.
Georgia. Still, it's all the same. It's the same mountain range down there.
Once you get past Wyoming, it's all the same. Montana, Wyoming. But it's weird because it's weird. So funny because that kind of stuff, it's always back there. You know what I mean? It's always like, well, we were in West Virginia one time, or we were in Pennsylvania, or we were in the Radnecks. I
think it's because it's these really densely packed trees and these hardwood forests back there. You can't see through that stuff. It's not like our pine forests. Conifer forests are different. They get thick, but you can still usually see through a little bit. Those hardwood forests, man, you ain't see nothing.
You can be lost in 10 feet.
It's bad. They're bad.
And when I lived in Illinois, I used to have to I was teaching people how to locate underground utilities. And I remember we were going through this forest, and I know, hi Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
I know that it wasn't that old, and I want to say conifer. Anyway, but we went like 10 feet in there, and I couldn't see the road at all anymore.
Yeah.
So I can imagine some of those places you're lost. And if you don't know how to navigate, I mean, you can't even see the stars. And if you don't know how to navigate your way out of there.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And, I love the people of West Virginia dearly. There's some backwoods people in West Virginia. There are some backwoods people, I'm telling you. But I love them. They were great people. But they're the kind of people, if you're a stranger and you come down their road, you're going to be met with the business end of a shotgun real quick. Yeah. And they're still running shine. They're still doing stuff. Back
Wow.
You know?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
there. No, I know they are.
Well, it's,
I have a bunch of friends that are living back there, and woo.
Allegedly, my
what.
Papa Sam did it.
there's a very famous or infamous family back there called the Whitaker family.
I've heard this. Yeah.
And have you ever heard of the Whitaker family? The Whitaker family, it's like you talk about some sister mom and uncle dad stuff going on.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
They have inbred.
Mhm.
Well, look it
Well-
up. They're called the Whitaker family, and they're in West by God, Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
West
So, I
Virginia.
mean, when you're talking about the movie Deliverance and you're looking at the people that they were making fun of in the movie, the bad guys in the movie, it comes from that stereotypical that we think of. And it's really, yeah, it is a sad situation. But some of these people, they have never left their towns ever.
No.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So anyway, that's our show for tonight. I hope you liked some of the creepy Reddit stories that we had. And make sure to come back next week, Wednesday, for our Psychic Medium show. Check out our new channel. It's Cringeworthy Crime for our murder true crime podcast called Creme de la Cringe. And yeah, we'll hit you guys up next week. And we have tons of adventures planned for this summer. So we'll have a lot of good footage for you.
There's an
Yeah.
adventure
Guys,
in
take care.
my head all the time.
Good night, everybody.
Adventure.
Bye.
Good on
One
you.
adventure.